Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia. At Tusain's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about comic books, costumes, facts, boots, and other stuff.
In this week's issue, World's Finest Wednesday.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes, our World Finest Wednesday. I'm Zach, joined by Michael, the enemy.
Hello.
I told you I was going to refer to you that
That
on
sounds
Wednesday,
good.
on Monday.
I want to speak for my teeth this entire episode. Okay. Yeah.
I guess so.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
I don't
Try not
really
to use on lips at all.
I don't really have anything to do. I'm Zach. That's Mike. This is Bros, Foes, and Heroes. This is our World's Finest Wednesday edition. We are sticking with DC, not necessarily a World's Finest Wednesday, but we are focusing on a Superman story with his
No matter what
lovely
happens,
girlfriend,
it's still
Lois
a World's
Lane.
Finest Wednesday.
That's true. Every day, every Wednesday is a World Finest Wednesday when you're here with us. That was a little corny, but I still stand by it. If you haven't, on our main show, we're kind of doing our own You Decide. We covered our first of the 3 issues we're going to cover. Guardians of the Galaxy from 1990. We got Cops from 1988, and then Scarlet from 1993. I'm reading the first issue of these 3 comics, and then we will decide which one of those is worth us covering more. And everybody's going to get to decide. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like, what's the best one? It's what one's the most entertaining.
Yeah, it's which weird one do you want us to actually dive into?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So go back and you can listen to the first one that we covered of Guardians of the Galaxy. We'll have Cops coming up on Monday, and then Scarlet the week after that, and then we'll open up voting. But today, on our World's Finest Wednesday, what we have in store for you, Mike, is a tale that the cover alone is a little strange, but the story is just as strange as well. It is Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, from April of 1967.
Girl,
this is issue
friend
number 7. Yeah, girl, who is also a friend. April 1967, issue number 73. Our story we're covering is titled, the one that the cover talks about, The Dummy and the Damsel. Writer is Leo Dorfman. Penciler and inker were both Kurt Schaffenberger, and good old Mort Weisinger was the editor. We've told the story before, but the anecdote I always remember about Mort Weisinger, as they talk about, I'm pretty sure, of how just mean and like angry of a man he was, and just like how much people didn't like him.
He was so mean and angry.
Just like
he was so mean and angry. He had Lois Lane whip a puppet.
Well, no, he's the editor at the time, but the story goes, which obviously I think it's just like a story and that's it. But that there's a time during the funeral where it was like anybody who wanted to stand up and say something nice about him could. And after a really awkward time of silence, somebody stood up and goes, his brother was more of an asshole, and then sat back down. So again, you never know, like this story is like that, but still, that's what I think of when I think of Mort Weisinger.
That's really good. I like that a lot.
So what we have here, though, is a story that involves Miss Lois Lane and Superman. That dummy is really loving the punishment it's receiving, which was kind of a it's a
he doesn't hate it.
He doesn't. Our story, I included some of the ads because Mike always loves these.
What is a ketsugu?
Where's that at?
It's up in the.
It's unbeatable self-defense made easy.
Oh,
it's the
Ketsugu.
powerful choice powerful choice secrets of karate, aikido. I can't read all of this now.
Yeah.
Judo's in there, jujitsu's in there.
Then you go down to the very bottom, right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's Trick Black Soap for Hitler.
It does look very. Oh man!
Oh my God! Look at that.
So here we go. Our story today is, it's of course that it's going to come up. He'll come up in comics somehow, or just the Nazis in general.
Sure.
It always has a way of getting
Nazis
back to that
are
somehow.
A big part of comics. Yep.
They're the villain that everybody can get behind, at least.
That's true. That's right.
So it's kind of a recreation of our cover here, as this dummy has broken off the wall and tells her, "You drove me out of Superman's body and into this puppet, but I took his superpowers with me. Look." And she thinks, the demon in that dummy is right. He does have Superman's strength. He broke those shackles as if they were tissue paper.
The demon in the dummy.
What's the dummy and the damsel is the name of the story. Yeah. And look at poor Superman just struggling with those kryptonite chains.
He's in bad shape.
So what happens is,
good.
One auspicious day. Why do you say all day? One auspicious day, a strange spacecraft is launched from Earth.
Yeah.
And it goes out into space and it lands on some remote planet. And while it's there, this weird life form is kind of watching it take like soil samples and things like that, because it's out rovering, trying to figure out stuff for NASA.
Sure, like we all do.
Exactly. And the energy creature decides, like, you know what? This circuit here, it reveals this craft is programmed to return to its inhabited planet in a distant solar system. This is my chance that I've been waiting for. I'll enter the sample storage chamber. And the energy creature kind of like lets himself be sucked into the ship and taken back to Earth to finally get off this planet this barren planet that he's been stuck on.
There's a lot of weird sexual tension going on here with the monster reaching out to touch the ship and let it go into him and all this stuff, and then a puppet on the side being whipped into shape.
Yeah, a little bit. As the shuttle lands back to Earth, everybody's there to get the scoop. And they're like, all right, guys, we got to wait for decontamination before anybody can, take a look at this or talk to anybody. It's going to take
any sense.
Yeah, it's going to take at least 4 hours.
Yeah.
And while they're there, the reporters that are there, of course, our very own beloved Lois Lane, as well as Lana Lang, who works for the TV station, 67.
Okay. Well, that explains the pillbox hat.
Yep. So Lois works for the paper, Lana works for the TV station, and she's like, sorry, Lois, my millions of viewers will get a close-up of this on TV hours before you can put anything about it on the planet. Like, she's just like rubbing it in her face. Yeah. So Lois is like, you know what? I need to get a scoop, because that's Lois's thinking, and this is what usually gets her into trouble in some of these stories we found out. No, that's not what I'm saying about her trying to get a scoop. So she takes her camera and she like sneaks in to take a picture. And as she takes a picture, the energy force comes out.
Bad idea.
And decides, like, the life force is like, I'll inhabit this body. And so it essentially, like, it leaves the ship and enters Lois.
Yeah.
And so now it's controlling Lois. And it says, as the alien takes control, we get these speech bubbles.
Look at that face of hers down in the bottom.
She's so evil now. Oh. It's like an elementary prototype of this bipped body. They keep saying bipped body throughout. It's how they refer to it. But its motor and reflex impulses react perfectly. Synapses and ganglia check out. And now to start my mission on this world, my instincts detect the water I am searching for. It's
Did the
not
thing
far.
Just say to itself, "Oh, good, this one has a brain." Is that basically what it just said?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And it says, I'll use this wheeled conveyance. My superior intellect can easily master it. And to the strange creature, law and order have no meaning, is what it lets you know, as it just runs through.
Sure.
The alien possessing Lois has now left the base building and is now driven to this dam. It was looking for water. What does it want with the water? Well, it says, now to prepare the chemical catalyst, I'll need one of these glass bulbs, I guess from the headlight will do nicely. Sure.
And then you can capture Hill 79 and win a mountain of prizes over 14,000 by G.I. Joe.
I just wanted to touch on this briefly, and the only reason I bring it up is who's like, let's go outside and play realistic war, kids.
They were then. Let's go outside and capture the hill.
Oh man! So takes that glass bulb, adds a little bit of petrological residue from the fuel tank,
Petrological residue,
some acid from the power cell, and a few drops of coolant
residue,
and then zaps it with whatever energy, and it starts like making this colored smoke, and then she pours it into the water, and like this huge, like it starts to go this incredible change. It's like, it's worked. I've succeeded. This will provide fuel to recharge and strengthen my force power.
Oh, thank God.
But then, people are chasing after her. So she's got to leave. So she takes the Jeep up a mountain, and the power force decides, you know what? I've kind of used Lois for everything I can. I'm leaving her. So he escapes.
What a
like
bad
he jumps out of Lois. Run time for the cops to find her and be like, Miss Lane, this guy must have taken you hostage with him. Like when he sold the Jeep, we never got to get a good look on him. Like, it's glad we found you. Couldn't have been you.
No.
By the way, all that water that he worked on, Mike, doesn't come back up at all.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it has the petrological residue or whatever they said.
Yes, the petrological residue. So
otherwise known as gas.
The cops are like,
Dirt.
all right, Miss Lane, we'll take you back to Metropolis. And the power or the energy monster realizes, like, I abandoned the body I abandoned has recovered. I'll follow it. It may have use for it later. So he thinks for some reason, even though he left Lois, he still might have an idea for it. So Lois, when she gets back to the planet, the Daily Planet, talks about Clark like, hey, I got a picture of this for us to get a scoop and beat Lon over at the TV station. Let's, see what the picture looks like. And the energy creature is scared that it might show him leaving the spaceship. So he possesses Clark to see, and sure enough, it does. And it gives us a note here, and it says, Clark's super body is invulnerable to physical harm, but not to a mental takeover. The editors let us know that that's how this energy monster can take over Clark.
Okay.
So he looks at the picture, and sure enough, like the energy monster sees himself leaving the returning spaceship. So he takes a lighter and sets the photo on fire. And Lois is like, Clark, what's gotten into you? Why are you burning that photo? And he's like, oh, she seems suspicious. I must be careful. Well, yeah, no
kidding,
shit.
right? Yeah.
But he's like, there was nothing on here. It was just a blurred image. Like this film is worthless. But it says, meanwhile, another drama unfolds as Jimmy Olsen tries to land the flying newsroom on the planet roof. Jimmy Olsen.
Wait. He tries to land the flying newsroom on the roof?
Jimmy Olsen has lost control of the helicopter.
Right, but they're calling it a flying newsroom?
Yeah, I guess you can work on there. They call it a whirlybird a lot, too.
Ooh, I like that.
But as he's going down, Jimmy, as we know before, has his watch. Remember, that calls Superman.
Yeah. Jimmy's also an idiot.
So Jimmy is pushing on the watch to try to call Superman.
Help, Daddy, help, Daddy, help.
And the energy monster who's taken over Superman is like, oh, what's that piercing sound? Oh, that hurts. So nobody goes to save Jimmy, and Jimmy just crashes.
He wanted Jimmy Olsen to call him Daddy, right?
No.
Wasn't that?
No, he adopted him once.
He adopted him. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
But he was afraid that his son would like kill some. He misinterpreted. He got him remember he bought Superman like a smoking jacket, and Superman was like, "This is crappy," and set it on fire.
This sucks. Thanks a lot.
Man, we need to cover some more of Jimmy Olsen.
My pal Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah, those are great.
Or Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen.
The library has I think the collection of some of the Super Family comics of stuff, which is like Lois Lane and that from that time. Maybe I should pick that up.
He's all passed out in his watch. He's just going zee.
And that's where the energy monster's like, oh, that's where that buzzing came from. Huh? And he's like, well, that's strange. Never mind. I'm going to take it off of him so I can get it to stop. Well, Jimmy's taken to the hospital. They're like, he must be okay. But we still got paper stuff to do. So Perry tells Clark and Lois, like, hey, I need you guys, one of our advertisers is running this beauty contest. I need you guys to go judge it, okay? Lois will go along and cover the story. You're the judge, Clark.
It's the Crispo Pretzel Company annual employee beauty contest.
It is. And do you see all the women there? It makes sure to show you that it is 5 women, 4 of them extremely attractive, and 1 woman who is very much not so.
Yeah.
And so
hillbilly with knock knees.
So what's the joke here? Well, the energy monster doesn't understand our concept of beauty, and he goes, most of the competitors have symmetrical faces, except this one. She stands out. She's probably what Earth people call beautiful.
Yes.
And he's like, you win. And so the woman who can't sit with, her knees, right?
Weirdo.
Yeah. has been named Miss Pretzel is right. Oh, that's Lois. Because she's crowned Miss Pretzel. And Lois goes, Miss Pretzel is right. How could Clark pick that plain Jane over those other gorgeous chicks? Men riding women. Always love that. He's getting wackier than ever. I must get to the bottom of this.
It is wacky.
There's Lois getting in problems again. Not for listening.
Lois causes problems.
But for trying to get scoops on stuff. So she goes out to where is this? Determined to solve the puzzle. I wanted to be alone with you, Clark. Somehow you're different today. So interesting and attractive. And she goes to kiss him, and she reaches in his pocket and finds Jimmy's watch that he stole.
Right.
He's like, "It's this Jimmy's signal watch. Like, you stole it. Why? Why did you burn my photo? And why did you pick that prune face as a beauty queen?"
Prune face.
Prune face.
How nice.
And so what does the energy monster think? Oh no, she suspects something. I got to get out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'll fall off the cliff.
Yep. Right off the cliff. That's a great.
He dives off the
monster.
cliff, and Lois is like, "No, he's toppled. He's been killed. Clark." But as he gets, that was to show you that there is an ad for a 80-page giant flash where he gets encased in solid air, blasted by an atom-powered trident, target of a magic bullet, and he also gets gripped by a bolo top.
It's also Gorilla Grodd.
Could you believe that? Would you believe gag cards? Oh, that's why I had this too.
I do like the gag cards.
I don't get it, Mike. They're stupid. Would you believe my flying saucer is parked outside? That's all it says on the card.
Yeah. Well, it's a gag.
On the other side, it says, "Would you believe a tricycle?" These make no sense.
Wait, it says, "Would you believe a tricycle?"
Yeah. Or, "Would you believe I can lift 7,000 pounds?" No, I wouldn't believe that. All right. On the other side, "Would you believe 2 lollipops and a Tootsie Roll?" You make no sense, crazy person. I don't understand the gag.
Would you believe?
So I don't get the gag there.
That's
anyway,
gag. I mean, it's not for everybody.
As the energy monster lands at the bottom of the ocean, he realizes, wait, I'm fine. This Earthling's body, like, it's remained intact. Pain symptoms negative, no shock to the syndrome.
Wait, you're talking about the comic again?
I'm going back to the comic.
Okay, I thought it was you for a second.
No,
I'm fine. This human body is great.
No, I'm talking about the energy monster, talking about he's discovered he's essentially Superman, and he comes up and he's like, "Oh, I had another pair of clothes on underneath this suit." And he flies back up with a suit in hand, and Lois is like, "Superman, Clark just fell. Did you get him?" And he's like, "She called me Superman."
What does the energy monster give a shit whether this guy's wearing extra clothes or not?
Hold on. And he's like, "Yeah. I took Clark back to his house. He's fine." Like, that's the best he can come up with. And she's like, "I'm so relieved. Please fly me back to the planet office. I want to tell you all about Clark's strange behavior." But as the alien soars, he starts losing altitude because he's not used to flying.
Sure.
So he's crashing with Lois. And so what does he do? He bails. He's like, "Nope, never mind. I'm not dealing with this. I soared too high. The height is affecting my consciousness. I must leave the superorganism at once."
He just puts her down and leaves?
No, he leaves as he's crashing, and Superman kind of wakes up too with Lois in his arms.
I see. Okay.
And he's like, "Lois, what happened? Like, the last thing I remember was at the planet." He thinks, like, the last thing I remember I was at the planet talking to her as Clark. And she's like, "You look like you were in a trance. You're okay?" And then Lois is like, "Wait, first I black out on the mountain with the Jeep. Now you black out now, like."
Well, Clark was acting weird.
Yeah.
Then Superman blacks out.
Yeah, and she's like trying to put this all, like, something's up with that. So they go back to the planet, and Superman is able to use and Superman is able to use his supervision to detect that the latent image of a weird alien being was emerging from that capsule. I don't know how he was able to put the pieces of that together, but he was. So Clark comes up with an idea, or Superman comes up with an idea.
No big deal.
The Metropolis Marvel flies Lois to his Arctic fortress of solitude. And he's like, "These old Kryptonian volumes of ancient magic and demonic possession may help us. According to the spell,
hang on. Name the books again. It
is volumes of ancient these old Kryptonian volumes of ancient magic and demonic possession.
Perfect.
May help us. According to the spell, I must first make a life-size puppet of myself." So that's where the puppet comes from.
These ancient tomes have told me if I create a puppet of myself.
And then it says, "Oh, what's that buzzer for?" And he's like, "Never mind. My preparations are complete, Lois.
Never mind.
If the alien takes control of me again, here's what you must do to drive him out. First, manacle me with those kryptonite chains. And the energy monster, obviously wanting Superman's body then now from having possessed it, has been following him.
Wave this baby Ruth right under my nose.
So he comes through the Fortress of Solitude and he gets in there, and it says the next moment the unearthly begins, or the unearthly being comes across a startling scene. And it says, evil spirit, cruel and rash, leave Superman's body quick as a flash. Enter the puppet, obey my lash.
Why do these fucking things always have to rhyme? Why do they always have to rhyme?
Because they're cooler when they rhyme.
No, they're not. No, leave it in a flash.
And then Superman goes, harder, strike harder. It's the only way to drive
baby.
the evil spirit from my body.
Get it, strike it harder.
And then the energy's like, ridiculous. That childish magic won't work. And then it goes, but amazingly, the lash tormenting me, forcing me out of Superman and into this doll-like creature. And the doll's talking. And then the energy goes like, unbelievable. That whip driving some unseen being from Superman to the puppet is what Lois thinks. Like, Lois thinks it's worked.
Yeah.
And then after a shock, yes, you've driven me out of Superman, but it took my superpowers with me, Lois, or with me.
Oh,
Look.
wow.
And then the energy goes, it's alive, but that's impossible. It's some trick. I'll take over Superman and check. And so the being goes into Superman, and he realizes, like, it's true. He has become weaker. His superpowers they're gone. But the energy creature doesn't realize he has the kryptonite shackles on.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He's all kryptonite.
Because he goes, I'll switch to the dummy body. It obviously has the powers for now.
Sure.
And so he enters the body of the creature.
The dummy.
And while they're there, abruptly, he's like, wait, the creature, its power, it's limp. And the dummy just like falls down. And that's right. He's like, Superman, what's going on? He's like, quick, get me out of these shackles. And so after the kryptonite chains are removed and stored away, he goes, look, the head's glowing. The strange being has been trapped here in the head of this puppet. Essentially, he tells Lois.
The head is glowing.
The head's glowing.
Sure.
This thing is now trapped in the head of the puppet. And he tells Lois, suspecting the alien might try to possess my body again. I made up that story about Kryptonian magic. I knew you'd believe it. He goes, if my plan, he doesn't say that, but he essentially is like, I knew you'd believe it. And he's like, if my plan works right, that invisible invader will want to possess the puppet and be trapped inside the shielding of the metal skull. And he goes, and then I added 2 more special effects. He added the tape recorder in there. He goes, now any blow the puppet to the puppet's body will activate this tape recorder and trigger the atomic action of the super muscles I built inside. So Lois whipping it was causing the movement and stuff to trick the energy monster. Superman then goes, the buzzer warned me when the creature entered the fortress. The green kryptonite weakened me, and believing the puppet had acquired my powers, the force being took it over and was trapped in the metal shielding. And then you see
these guys hate children.
Hoodwinked by an inferior species. Superman sets the head down there, and he uses his Phantom Zone projector to send the head into the Phantom Zone to be done with it. And then Superman says,
does that head ever come back where he has to battle it later?
I don't know. I should,
because that would be kind of cool, honestly, if the head came
Lois
back.
goes, that's the thing. May have some horrible purpose for invading Earth. Suppose it escapes. And he's like, it won't. I'm using my Phantom Zone ray to project the puppet's head and its prisoner into the Twilight Dimension. But without you, I couldn't have defeated that menace, Lois. We make a great team. And Lois goes, how true, my darling. And we'll make an even better team someday when we're Mr. and Mrs. Superman. The end.
What?
That's where it ends.
That's complete garbage.
Mike, they can't all be winners.
No, that's kind of the deal with Wednesdays, right? I mean,
whoa. I like the silly and the dumb and the funny
then
and
you loved that one. That was good stuff.
I did,
but I would like to see that head come back.
Let's Google. We usually Google this. I don't think that it's ever gonna
floating demonic head of Superman's doll body.
Yeah, the synopsis of the issue was just when an evil alien possesses Superman's body, he and Lois manage to exorcise it by trick and send it into the Phantom Zone. That kind of sums it up.
So.
Oh, man. See, the second story of this was Lois Lane appears to acquire a fairy godmother who fulfills her every wish, but the granted wishes I have a penchant for going awry.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
double head, feature. Though, if that head would just like float out, like, you know.
Oh. What? Sorry, Mr. Mizzelpitalik
Yeah.
Mizzelpitalik is in it, but also there's Miss Jizzlepitalinsons. It's like there's a female version of her in that story.
Porn during these things.
That's not any porn I want to watch. Jizzle pickle?
Whatever you said. You said jizz something.
Whatever. So there you go. Our story today was the damsel in the dummy.
You know what? There's nobody I would like to share one of these awful, awful stories with more than you, Zach.
Oh, thanks,
buddy.
I appreciate that. But there you go. That's our World's Finest Wednesday. We'll have another World's Finest. We're going to get back into some of the Marvel origins here in the future. I know we can dive into, I don't think we've ever covered, we know Spider-Man's origin, but some of the first stories are just funny to me of how like he just always loses. Not like he loses the battle, but he just loses at life kind of. Yeah, it's just sad there for a bit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's like, oh, about this, I had no money. But we also have a lot more World's Finest stuff to get to as well. There is one that I have. Oh, I know what I was going to do for next week, Mike, and I got to read through it. There's a story where we find out that Batman might be Kryptonian.
Oh, really?
That he was Bruce Kal-El from a World's Finest.
That didn't happen, but all right.
There we go.
Sure.
That's what we'll do next week. So there you go. That's our World's Finest Wednesday. Don't forget to go back and be able to listen to the first Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1 of our You Decided the 3 we're doing. The little contest we do. And also, I'm trying to give history. I'm explaining the You Decide contest to Mike as we go with it. So it's a little bit of both, but go back and enjoy that. Thank you guys for always taking the time out to listen. Yes. We appreciate it as always. Also, make sure, please, to check out all the other great podcasts on the Rogue Media Network family of podcasts.
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Bye, Gallicon.
Frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about frozen heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.